What's up, Soul Family? Coming at you with another collective reading. This reading is going to be on. I got two. So we have Kangaroo with Unsettled Times, Need to Plan Ahead. And we have Cat with A Two-Faced Friend. So that being said, if you're interested in a one-on-one reading, you can do so by directly messaging me or with the link in the bio. The first reading is $35. You can ask whatever question you want, or I can simply pull and we can see what comes out. If it doesn't resonate, then I'll simply refund you. But that being said, let's jump right in. So I'll pull a couple more tea leaf cards. We got career. I guess I should put it a little closer. Success. And then we have bear. Danger, especially in money matters. So already this makes me feel like this has to do with somebody who, at your job, maybe you thought they were like a work friend and they're kind of just two-faced. I've had plenty of experiences of connecting with people that you think you could trust in the workplace and then them kind of just not being reliable. We have the Ace of Pentacles. So this already makes me feel as if like this could mean that it's just time to go and get like a different opportunity or like a new job or something else. Especially if the Ace of Pentacles coming up after we got warned, it could be that maybe they could be a potential danger to your job. So maybe you've been kind of like feeling things are off, you've been feeling like things are kind of like shifty, then this is a really good call to trust that intuition and move if you can. We have the Four of Swords and the World card. So maybe it's something that you don't necessarily have to rush. Maybe it's time to pretty much just like take a step back and just be very calculated with how you're approaching it. Just really consider what options you have before moving forward. And with the World card, I'd like to think that, you know, even if this is you leaving this job, then it's like a major milestone. Like it's still pointing towards like you being fulfilled. You're closing out a big chapter. So it's not necessarily a bad thing that things are ending. It's just kind of like this chapter of that experience that you've been in has ended. Then we have the Five of Wands. So whoever this is, it's like they just seem like they're on some petty crap. The Five of Wands, a lot of times, like it's just it could be like you're in a competitive environment. Maybe they just want to get more hours, or they feel like for one reason or another, like by doing this, then they'll get some benefit over you. But I think it's sometimes just not even worth it in my experience to stay in an environment that causes like conflict and where people are toxic. It's just better off to just move on as soon as you can. So with the Knight of Swords, it's like, so maybe the call is to take more swift action. I could have been incorrect with the Four of Swords. Maybe the Four of Swords is pointing towards maybe this job has been something that gave you this chance to rest and to kind of gather yourself. And now it's you're being called to take more decisive action before something does happen to a point where you're not really, you know, in the best position to handle whatever comes up. To be honest, I don't think this is going to be a long reading. It just doesn't really feel like it's going to be one. The Emperor. So I feel like it's one of those things where maybe the Emperor is representing the energy of where your workplace is, like where somebody has like a really big ego and they're kind of like just because maybe you're close to like a manager or something, or maybe you're close to like a shift leader or something like that. So maybe their ego's getting in the way now. Maybe they're kind of like this tyrant who is abusing their power or is not, you know, fun to be around. Because I've had the work experience of like somebody who was a shift supervisor. Like we were cool while we were both on the same level, and then they got the promotion, and out of nowhere they kind of just started changing up because the power got to their head. So it could be that energy. Let's pull like a couple more. The Four of Pentacles. So maybe this is calling to, especially if you're stable right now, it's like a call to release this job. It's like sometimes we tend to hold on to things too tightly, and that's just stopping us from being able to get to what we actually really want to in the longest run. The Hierophant. So in this context, maybe it's like if you have a consistent method of either finding a job, or maybe you have some like consistent way of like making money, Or maybe it's the energy. Oh, well, the Hierophant has a lot to do sometimes, like with having a mediator. So maybe it's what I was initially going to say is if you have a tried and true method of finding a job, the Hierophant sometimes has a lot to do with like tradition or things that are kind of like consistent in a certain manner. So if you have a good method to find an alternative way to either make money or take care of yourself, then it could be pointing towards that. Alternatively, what the Hierophant could be pointing towards is if you have the ability to get a mediator or to have somebody who's going to step in who's like a higher up or something like that in the meantime. You don't necessarily have to let them know you're like leaving or moving on or something, but you can at least let them know that you're experiencing what you're experiencing and see what they can do from there. Sometimes that's like the easiest way to at least make sure that you are stable. You don't have to worry about like something else popping up, or at least losing your job too soon, or at least staying in an opportunity where you're not going to want to be in for longer than you need to. And we have the Three of Pentacles and the Hanged Man. So maybe it's just time to keep things professional with the person who was your friend at the time, and kind of just take a pause and don't necessarily be very hasty to respond or engage with them. Just take a step back, relax, and don't just, because sometimes we can either get triggered, or they can be, we can have like moments like where we're like reconnecting with them. Maybe this is a call to be mindful of pausing before engaging in any capacity. And then we have the Queen of Cups on the bottom. So yeah, I would like to think that maybe it's pointing towards like being mindful of not engaging in them, especially if they're going to be like toxic. It's like just keep it very professional, by the book. You don't have to be petty, just do your job, get in, get out. And that can prevent a lot of just trauma in the long run. Just minding your P's and Q's, and having, of course, like that mediator with the Hierophant, like having somebody who's going to at least cushion whatever toxic environment that you're in, but also just staying very poised within whatever experience you have. I've had countless interactions at work where I've had to be very calm in the face of very obnoxious circumstances when it came to like higher ups or supervisors and stuff like that. But that being said, peace and blessings, and I'll catch you in the next reading.